Like most people, I went out, I bought a camera, and I started taking photos and started filming things because it was fun. And then I figured I actually want to make this into a living, so I would take any job that came my way, and that included weddings. Now, weddings are a great way to make money. People always tell you weddings are like really lucrative. You can make so much money from weddings. And although that can be true, in my experience, corporate pays way more. It's way less hassle, and there was a huge disconnect in my business, which actually meant that I was losing out on wedding work and I was losing out on corporate work too. And I see this happen so many times with people in our academy when they join us and they've been doing weddings as well as corporate work, and there's a real clash and a confusing mix of interests. In this video, I want to explain why doing both simply isn't good, and if you are going to do both, how you should set up your business to achieve the best results. Anytime you're dealing with the general public, people that don't understand necessarily business, it's not business to business, it is a lot more personal, and often you're dealing with a lot more emotions. Now, I certainly loved filming weddings. I felt privileged to be a part of their special day. When other guests or friends might not have been invited due to numbers, I always took that on me as this is a great opportunity to make sure I do the best for this person. The problem with weddings is they are often very long days. They are often quite demanding. They often don't understand business or the process, and that can be hard, especially when you're starting out, because perhaps like me, you don't have the confidence to say to them you should charge more for that, or you're not getting paid what you're worth, or you're dealing with low-end weddings, and sooner or later you end up with a problem with perhaps a bridezilla or someone that it just doesn't go well. Something happens with one of the cards, or something happens with a camera, or a battery dies, or a whole multitude of things, and then you look and you're sat there thinking, I'm not making enough money for this to be worth it. Whereas on business to business, yes, mishaps can still happen, but when they do, they're often recoverable much easier. And to get over that hurdle, whether that is simply a reshoot or getting some kind of way around it, there's a lot less emotions attached in it. Fortunately, in my time filming weddings, I didn't have any problems like that, and I like to think that that was simply down to putting together a solid preparation sheet, a pre-production worksheet, where I would go and have a meeting with the bride and groom to be, and we would go through every detail. If it wasn't on that list as a feature to be filmed and I didn't film it, they could not come back to me and say, oh, you didn't film that placemat that we really wanted. I made sure everything was documented, and it always ran smoothly as a result because we were all on the same page. And I'm speaking now from experience being a mentor and mentoring people who still film weddings, and that is absolutely fine. It can be a good industry for some if it's done correctly. Now, in my opinion, the wedding space is a huge market that needs an overhaul. It needs people to be doing it properly. I know many friends who have had their weddings filmed and they've had to wait longer than a year to get their video back, which is absolutely outrageous. I mean, even in some cases, they've had to wait for 3 to 6 months. And if you're newly married, you want to share your video, right? You want to get it out there. You want to let people see it. So I do think there's a huge opportunity for people to take over the industry and do a good job. However, wedding clients are still going to be somewhat, for the most case, if we're being quite general, they will have some limit to the amount of budget. Corporate, when you work your way up within niches and industries, business to business, and you have access to different marketing budgets and different levels of businesses themselves, then all of a sudden you have the opportunity to earn hundreds of thousands of dollars from one job alone. Now, this video isn't a rant at doing weddings and why you should pick corporate over weddings. The piece of advice I really wanted to get to is this. Filmmakers make the mistake of when they film weddings, they put it on their website. That's absolutely fine. But when they film corporate, they put it on their website. Then you end up with this really strange mix where your wedding clients do not want to see what you're doing in your corporate side, or very rarely. And your corporate side clients certainly don't want to see that you've been doing weddings and stuff. They want to see examples specific to them. And that's the case with both of these people. Wedding clients will want to see other weddings that you filmed, not necessarily that new product video that you put together. And your corporate clients will want to see other corporate work that you've been putting together, the brand videos, the advertising campaigns, all of those things, not that you filmed someone's wedding at the weekend that looked really nice and soppy. So at this point, This is where we decided to split our business into two. We had Perspective Weddings, and then we had Perspective Studios. And that's the advice that we continue to give to filmmakers, all in our academy. And we've seen people do this time and time again. The moment they split the business into two, they direct one customer journey through one funnel into the one website, and then they direct the business clients into another funnel into a different part of the website. Then the two are kept completely separate. It means you can have better conversations between the two. Your perceived value is higher as well, because when people look at your website, they're now not seeing something that doesn't fit with what they're looking for, which will lower the perceived value. Oh, can this guy really do the job? I mean, if they film weddings, it puts a limit on it. Whereas now they're looking at content that is suited to them, and therefore it provides you with more authority to charge more too. It also means your marketing efforts can be more bespoke around those type of clients too. And I'll be completely transparent. After a while, we closed down the wedding side of the business because it just became way more viable, more lucrative, much more career progression, if we were to use that term, to focus on corporate and business to business than it was to solely just continue focusing on weddings. I knew I wanted to build a business that had the ability to grow much bigger than just me with a camera, me going to weddings. Even if it was a small team, I wanted to have a business that could make a real impact, employ a team of people, work on major projects for global clients all over the world. So it's certainly not to say that weddings can't work, and the two can't work in conjunction with each other. We just need to have a divider between the two so they're completely split, at least while you're starting out, at least while you're figuring out what you want. Once you've got that goal, you should start to aim everything towards that and put those efforts into the side of the business that ultimately you want to create. We're in business because we want to create our own version of our own business, right? So that's exactly what you should be doing and not lose sight of that. If you want to see a step-by-step business plan to start in a production company, this would work both for weddings and for video production as well, and even video editing agencies. To be fair, solid business advice will always be good business advice in any industry. Then definitely take a look at this video. I've got clear, actionable steps as we go through the 7 phases of business in order to grow and expand on your business at the moment. You won't regret it if you click that video, and if you want to make sure this is your best year ever.